Hello, I'm John King.
And I'm Moran.
And we're professional magicians. And on behalf of World Magic Network, in this video, we'd like to present some tips and information that you can use to help yourself become a more successful magician. Firstly, let's talk about sales technique, which is where many magicians struggle. Having good sales technique can be the difference between being a successful magician and being a failure, because having a good sales technique can be the difference between you landing a gig or having it go to a rival magician. Now, say for example, you have an email inquiry has come through from a potential client. You call that client back and that client says that they have already booked another magician. So, what do?
Many magicians would say to politely wish the client well and hang up the phone. However, we at World Magic Network thinks this is a bad idea.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Paul. The correct thing to do is to politely inform the client that the magician that they've chosen to hire is actually a paedophile.
Yes, this may seem harsh, but statistically speaking, it's odds on to be correct, and you're going to get the gig.
Absolutely, Paul. And in the unlikely event that your client does some background checks and does discover that the magician that they originally hired isn't actually a paedophile, well, they're odds on to be a murderer or a rapist or some other kind of criminal, so you can use that in your sales pitch to your advantage.
Anyway, let's talk about image. Image as a magician is very, very important.
Yes, you're right, Paul. All too many magicians look like a sack of shit when they're performing and wonder why they don't get many repeat bookings. As a magician, your image needs to be appropriate for the venues that you intend to work in.
For example, if you're a wedding magician, a fresh suit would be appropriate for the occasion. But, on the other hand, if you're performing in a bar, then you can dress casual.
But unfortunately, many magicians tend to wear waistcoats when they're performing. This is a big no-no because it makes you, as a magician, look like a cunt. And any magician who wears a waistcoat when performing really deserves to have their penis cut off, have it deep fried and fed to their parents on a bed of couscous.
Yes, I think that seems appropriate. Perhaps with a sprig of parsley. As you can see, I have a lot of tattoos. As a magician, it is important to cover up your tattoos when you're performing, particularly if you have a swastika, because people are easily offended these days.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about performance itself. Specifically, I'd like to talk about the use of flourishes to enhance a performance.
Many magicians flourish continuously, like some sort of nervous attention-seeking child.
Very true. And any magician that chooses to do this deserves to be diagnosed instantly with an incurable form of cancer.
I think that's so appropriate. If you're shit, then just give up. I've seen too many shitty magicians posting shitty tricks on Facebook. They should do something they're good at, like weaving baskets, knitting sweaters, or masturbating furiously.
Or better still, go shoot yourself, because I would rather be force-fed the diarrhea of a middle-aged Chinese man than to continue watching shitty magicians performing shitty tricks on the internet. Now, let's talk about learning new material. Some magicians argue that you should read books, and other magicians argue that you should watch videos.
Some magicians argue that you find better material in books. But some say, if you watch videos, you just end up becoming like the performer in the video. Almost like a clone. Yes,
but we all know that those magicians that prefer books are all ancient old-age pensioner magicians who are stuck in their ways. We all know that video wasn't as accessible in their generation as it is today, and these people should be more concerned with more pressing matters rather than how other magicians go about learning their material. For example, they should probably be more concerned with how they are going to get through winter.
And finally, if you're going to attempt to have sex with children, make sure you don't get caught.
And that's all we've got time for. We'll be back soon with more magic tips. And thank you for watching. World Magic Network, take one.
And finally, if you are going to have sex with children, Make sure you don't get caught.
Very true. And any magician that chooses to do this deserves to be diagnosed instantly with an incurable form of cancer. That's harsh.
Well, many magicians would say, fuck. Many magicians continue, fuck.